All right, y'all. So yesterday night, I went to go see the new Spider-Man Brand New Day. Well, actually, yesterday evening, I went right after work, rode my bike right on up to the movie theater, saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, here's the thing. Just a little information. I hate Spider-Man. I do. I hate the character. I can't stand him. Can't stand the sight of him. I hate how he's forced on me. I hate how I see him everywhere. I hate the character. I think he's boring. But am I going to let that get in the way of a movie review? No, I'm not. I'm not going to let the hatred of the character blind me or nothing. So, yeah, I went to go see the movie yesterday. And here's the thing. It's a great movie. It is a great movie. Just because I hate the character, that doesn't mean that the movie automatically sucks. No, the movie was very well done. I mostly liked that there are so many physical fights as much as there are mental fights in the movie. I mean, on top of him fighting Tombstone, him fighting Scorpion, him fighting freaking the Hand, him fighting the real bad guy, him fighting other heroes, him fighting his own body, there's more mental fights as well. He got to fight his feelings for his friends, because when we watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, he did the spell, and now things are not the same no more. Ain't no going back. Doctor Strange already told us that. Ain't no going back. So now he got to fight the ramifications of that spell, and he got to fight his feelings for MJ, his feelings of living vicariously through his friends' lives that no longer know him. So he got to battle that too. He got to battle his conscience when he's fighting crime. He's got the battle of public perception, and the classic Superman thing where you got to deal with evil humans, and well, you can't just punch a hole through them, so you got to battle that too. You got the battle of losing Aunt May and keeping in mind everything she taught you and putting that into the battlefield. You see a lot of that in this movie too. And low-key, it was the savior of the day. You got to battle even your friends and how they do their business versus how you do your business. You got to battle a really tough villain. You got to fight your urge to fight the fight in front of you versus investigating what the real problem is. You got to do that too. There's a lot of fights you got to do, and there's a lot of life lessons in this movie too. You got to think about, who is the real villain here? Is the villain in your mind the villain in reality? Sometimes you got to talk. Sometimes you got to talk it out instead of using your fists. There's the life lesson of, you can sometimes be your own worst enemy. Sometimes you get in your own way. Sometimes you have to just let yourself be you. And yeah, believe it or not, that's a thing in the movie. You have to be yourself. You got to stop standing in your way and just let yourself shine, okay? You got to be yourself to the fullest. Stop holding yourself back. That is a major lesson in the movie. And I like that he interacts with the people, and the people give him a life lesson too, because one of the people in the movie let him know that another life lesson is, you can't be married to the job. You cannot be married to the job. That never ends well. When you don't allow yourself rest, when you're just constantly on the job trying to save every little tiny thing, sometimes you got to delegate. There is a time for heavy-handedness, and then there's a time to just reel it back, evaluate the situation, and then get to it later. That's a life lesson in the movie too. Another life lesson is, sometimes it takes the big gun. That's a moral lesson from a my boy Punisher. The real reason why I watched the movie. I mean, I showed up early viewing to see Punisher, and oh my gosh, every single solitary second of Punisher action in this movie is perfect for me. I can't speak for nobody else, but I love the Punisher. John is doing an excellent job. I don't like you over Thomas, but John is doing an excellent job as Punisher. There is nothing he's doing wrong as Punisher. Nothing he's doing wrong as Punisher. He's doing a great job. Good job, John. Good job. Every second of Punisher, perfect. But Punisher, he gives us a life lesson that sometimes, it just takes the big gun. You just got to sometimes bring the big guns out. There's a life lesson there. There's a life lesson from Aunt May. Of course, she's always coming with the life lessons for Peter. And I think the biggest life lesson in this movie for me is Peter's empathy. In this movie, he's having to fight the fact that he's overloading himself on the job, and it's just making him sick on the inside. Even if you're a superpower person, sometimes the stuff gets to you and it makes you sick. It makes you physically sick, and it does stuff to you, and you got to bring it back. But for all of the things that Superman, for all the things that Spider-Man can do, the senses thing, the super strength, the spidey sense, the however he does the webbing, whether it's older Spider-Man, whether it's Amazing Spider-Man, whether it's how Tom Holland does it, for all the web shooting and the gliding through the air, the super senses, the strength, the agility, the reflexes, of all his powers, I would say his biggest power is his empathy and his relatability. I think that's the biggest thing about Spider-Man is his relatability. And this is coming from a person that, like I said, I can't stand Spider-Man. But I can see that his relatability and his empathy and his heart that he puts into his work, that might just be his biggest superpower. And truth be told, it's the real hero of the day. That is his ability to put himself into other people's shoes because he lived through that before. That is one of his biggest superpowers. And in this movie, it really, really does come in handy, because sometimes the enemy is not the enemy, and sometimes your friend is not your friend. Okay? You got to fight Tombstone, Scorpion, Metzger. You got to fight a certain ex-hero. You got to fight that too. You got to fight Punisher from getting in his own way. You got to fight the Hulk, the Hand. It's a lot of fighting in this movie. But all in all, yeah. Spider-Man Brand New Day, it delivered. It was so great. I think one of the good things about this movie, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just when I started noticing it. But ever since the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, people have been fleshing out the city and showing off the city more. And I love that about this movie. Now that right there, I can't deny from the Spider-Man movie. When you see the whole city through like Spider-Man's eyes, and while it's almost like you're shooting webs throughout the city and gliding through the air with Spider-Man, and you see how the city looks from the web shooter's point of view, and it's so cool. And the multiple camera shots during the fight scenes where it's going up and down and it's revolving anywhere, and you just see stuff like that through the fight scenes, and him just, being Spider-Man, wall crawling and just being upside down, because that's just his life. Seeing the city from that point of view, I thought that was so cool, and I can't deny that part. I mean, that's when you flesh out the city of New York through Spider-Man's point of view, it's so cool to see that. Now the fight scenes itself, very good. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was the tiniest bit the tiniest bit of a letdown with the Spider-Man versus Hulk fight, just the tiniest bit. But I can understand why they did it that way, so I can look past that. But yeah, the city, that was good. There's no real music to speak of. It's not like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie where it's got an excellent soundtrack. It's not that type of movie. But yeah, the movie was great. The movie was so dang good. Yeah, Brand New Day. You want to see that early, as soon as possible? You definitely should bring the kids. Definitely bring the kids, because in the movie, Spider-Man inspires people. He inspires the city. He kind of got his city kind of like the Flash does, where it's just like it's even hard for the villains to hate him, where they're just like they're doing the rounds and they try to do their crime and the hero stops them and they're like, you got me again. I'm gonna get out though. I'm gonna get out of prison and we're gonna try this again. So it's like the villains don't even recognize him as the problem. They get along with Spider-Man so well. It's like they barely recognize him as the problem. You kind of see it in the movie where the villain are just like, yeah, you're in my way, but you're such a good kid and you got such a good heart. It's kind of like it's hard to even hate you, even though you're foiling my plans. And I like that about Spider-Man, and I like that he inspires the kids to do good stuff. And I like how even the little man who's just living their life every day, they get along with Spider-Man too. So it's like the parents and the kids and even the villains like Spider-Man. And I was like, that's the mark of a good hero right there. I got to give him that. I can't stand the character, but he is a great hero. He does his job very well. He got his part of the city very well handled. But yeah, there's a lot of heartfelt moments with like I said, dealing with the ramifications of that spell from Multiverse of Madness. So he got to watch his friends just live their life now, and you can't do nothing about that, because it's whatever. It's good to see the guest characters in the movie. It's good to see the real villain of the movie. That was a good turnaround. That was a good surprise. And yeah, like I said, I got to give it an A. I got to give it an A. Spider-Man Brand New Day. A. Good job, y'all. Very good job.